What up, though? It's your girl, Ashanté Harrell, and welcome to the very first episode of It's Ashanté. If you know me, you know I've been meaning to do this for quite some time, and I'm happy to have finally got it together. Okay, we're gonna have a great time. This is not your average podcast, baby. We not in here having gender wars and all that hoopla. Okay, this is health, wellness, growth, support on your journey. And of course, a little bit of funny, okay? Because healing does not have to be so serious. Okay, so boom. Who am I and why am I here? I am Ashanté Harrell. I will be 33 years old in just 2 days from the recording of this video. And if you've been following me for some time, you know I'm all about health, wellness, speaking life into people, learning how to speak life into myself, shifting perspectives and all of those things. So yeah. That's what we're here to do. I'm here to help you guys with some of the wisdom I've gained over the past few years with my journey. And baby, has it been a journey? Has it been a journey? We will get into all of that as the season progresses. So this first episode, we will be keeping it quite light, keeping it cute, which is why I entitled this first episode, Trust Fall. So when it comes to a trust fall, we all know what that is when somebody stands behind you, you hold your hands out. And you lean back and you hope they don't drop you. You got to hope they catch you. You just got to go for it, right? Don't bend your knees, nothing, just fall back. And I feel like a lot of the things I've done in my life represents that, especially this project right here. Because baby, if you know me, you know, I've had my times where I'm like, oh gosh, do I want to do this now? Do I want to wait? Do I want to do this now? Do I want to wait? I am filming this in my salon. So if y'all hear some banging, some bumping, some footsteps, some talking, bear with me. There's a lot of us in here and that's okay. We are here to get our life together, okay? All right, so today's topic is betting on yourself. And when it comes to betting on yourself, we all know it can be very, very scary because at the end of the day, you really do feel like you're making a bet, right? You got a 50% chance of success, 60% chance, 10% chance, 90% chance, whatever the case may be. Betting on yourself can be very difficult and it can be very scary. Some things I want to pinpoint about doing your own trust fall and betting on yourself is that it's okay. Because I'm not trying to sit up here and say like, oh, you got to be 100% sure. It's okay to have certain fears and it's okay to have certain doubts along the way. Trust and believe there were times where I could have dookied on myself. Okay. Because again, some situations you don't know how to handle until you're in those situations. So when it came to me cooking for people and doing certain things, it was a lot of trial and error. It was a lot of learning along the way. And you're going to be fearful at certain steps and you're going to be doubtful at certain steps. The goal is to get yourself to a point where you're able to work through those fears and work through those doubts. Because at the end of the day, there's not a single person who has done anything great in his life and not been a little bit afraid or a little bit doubtful. Like, that's just how this goes. So once you learn how to work through those things, and just do it anyway, do it scared, do it broke, do it tired, you'll be good. Another thing you want to be mindful of when you decide to bet on yourself is to celebrate the small wins. I know that as a society, people gonna try to tell you like, oh, all you did was get your little LLC. Okay. All you did was one client. Okay. All you did was this. All you did was that. Okay. When you do this, when you do that, holla at me. Skip what everybody's talking about. Celebrate every single tiny small win because that's what's going to make this fun. That's what's going to keep the fire up under you. That's what's going to ensure that you have that drive to continue. Because if you're too focused on the end goal and the end goal is way up here, but you're still here, but you started here. If you're not celebrating the fact that you went from here to here to here to here, it's going to be hard for you to even fathom yourself being way up there if you're not keeping track of the steps you're actually taking. Don't let nobody talk you out of celebrating your small wins. Even if you got to celebrate by yourself, I've done a lot of celebrating alone. That's another thing. Don't be afraid to do it alone or to celebrate alone or to get to a point where you don't need validation from outsiders. Because at the end of the day, it's your vision. God gave you your vision for a reason. And it's not for anyone else to see, because if it was for them to see, they would have gotten the vision and they would be taking your idea and running with it. One thing about taking a leap of faith is that it will always be worth it. Whether you learn from the experience or whether you actually accomplish the experience, each individual, as you take leaps of faith and bet on yourself, you're always going to learn something about yourself. If y'all want to know some things I learned about myself, comment below and I'll let y'all know some things I learned about myself, because I don't want the video to get too long. But yeah, you learn a lot about yourself. You learn a lot about your integrity. You learn a lot about your mentality. You learn a lot about the people around you. And if y'all want to know some of those things that I've learned, let me know in the comments. So I'm going to share with you guys a couple of times where I decided to bet on myself, and sometimes it went good and sometimes it went bad. Both times I learned something new about myself. So regardless of the fact whether it goes good or bad, just know it's always, always, always going to be a learning lesson when you decide to bet on yourself. The first instance of me betting on myself that I would like to talk about would be my brow story. For those of you who don't know, I am a cosmetic tattoo artist. And so I specialize in giving people scalps, brows, eyeliner, lipstick, lip blush, beauty marks, things of that nature. So it's pretty much a permanent makeup service that I provide to my clients. How I got into that is kind of random. But in taking the inspired steps that I feel like were given to me, I was able to eventually open up a full-blown salon suites where we have tenants and we help other people accomplish their dreams and their goals and do their own leap of faith and have their own trust falls within themselves. So how that got started is my mom decided to have her own brows tattooed. And I thought to myself, like, dang, okay, she got this done. No shade, no tea. But I could have did a better job myself. Like, I literally could have watched one video and did a better job. So I started to look into how to become a cosmetic tattoo artist. And my first skill set that I learned was microblading. So I'm looking up microblading. This is back when the algorithm was pure and it wasn't all that like, post at this time, post at that time. It was where you would get online and if somebody posted at 3 p.m., you saw it in real time. You ain't see it 2 days later. So I worked a job where I would work midnights and I would be on the internet and I would see all these people in these Asian countries performing this service. And I would only see this stuff around like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. scrolling my phone at work. And I thought to myself, how can I learn how to do this? So I looked up a class, took the class, and from there, I started doing friends and family brows. Ended up learning how to do another brow technique and another brow technique and another brow technique. And then it got to the point where it was like, okay, I've built my clientele. I've worked in this shop for a year now. I'm ready to do my own thing and be my own boss. So it got to a point where brows and my regular job that I was working were interfering with each other to the point where sometimes I would sneak out my job to do some brows and then go back to work. Like, oh yeah, you guys, I'm going to take a lunch. I'll be right back. I would go do a set of brows, make half of what I'm going to make on my next check, and then go back to work. So it got to a point where I'm like, oh my goodness, like if I can make in one weekend the same amount of money I will make in a whole month working this job, at what point do I want to leave this job? I tell my job, all right, probably going to quit in a few months. I'm just letting y'all know, I'm ready to take that leap, blah, blah, blah. So when it was getting closer to that time, I started to really feel like, okay, it's time now. It's time now. It's time now. So rather than telling my job, okay, it'll be a few months, I went back and told them like, okay, actually next week I'm done. Next week I'm going to quit and I'm going to do full-time cosmetic tattooing. And this was like pre-pandemic. This is like 2018, 2019. So I decided like, okay, I'm just going to quit my job. I quit my job, was working in the salon for like 5 to 6 days a week, doing 3-4 people a day, 300-400 a pop. It was great. Like I literally was like, okay, you know what? I don't know where this is going to take me, but it's going to take me somewhere. So I feel like in that moment when I was able to trust myself and just go for it and take that leap, I hit the ground running because there was just not a doubt in my mind that I can get it accomplished. And I remember when I was working in that shop, since I wasn't officially hired in at first, I would carry all my supplies in this gray backpack, and I would take pictures of this gray backpack, and I would let myself know, like, one of these days I'm gonna have my own suite. And when I got my own suite, I would take pictures of my suite and say, one of these days I'm gonna have my own building. And I would just always, celebrate my smaller wins along the way. Eventually, I got my own suite. Still was hitting the ground running. Eventually, me and my business partner opened up a full-blown salon suites. And yeah, it'll be 5 years come March. And come March of 2026. So yeah, first things first, when it comes to taking a trust fall, you got to make sure you full-blown believe in yourself. And you also want to set yourself up. So it's not like I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to quit this job. I actually kind of like had to grind it out for a little bit and do both jobs at one point so that I could eventually be like, okay, you know what? It's time for me to quit. I didn't just say, oh, I learned a new skill yesterday, let me quit. You definitely want to make sure you're taking calculated steps, sure steps. You don't want to leap just because you're in an emotional state. You want to make sure you're making a lot of your decisions from a neutral state. Another time I decided to bet on myself was when I wanted to change my diet. And I had some things that were going on with me health-wise, and I'm like, you know what? I think I kind of want to be vegan. I kind of want to switch up my diet, become plant-based, just eat a lot cleaner. And so I had all these people in my life telling me like, oh yeah, you're so greedy. Cause listen, baby, I was cooking it up on Instagram. Showing everybody what I was eating, where I was eating, how I was eating, all that type of stuff. And a lot of people were telling me like, girl, you think you could eat all plants? You sure you gonna eat all fruits and vegetables? You sure about that? Because honey, the way you be whipping up turkey chops and pepper steak and big old tomahawks and ribeyes is no way. So that was more of a path that I just was silent about, kinda, and I kind of kept to myself. And I would just, switch small things on my plate. Like, okay, so today I probably won't eat no meat. Tomorrow I won't eat dairy, but I'll eat meat. The next day, I won't eat meat or dairy. And I'll do this like once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to fully transition. So I ordered me a cleanse, and I held on to it for like a month and a half because I was afraid to do the cleanse. Why? I don't know. There's literally nothing to be afraid of, but I was afraid to do the cleanse. And then one day I decided to do it. And after that, I didn't have any of the health concerns that I had prior to doing the cleanse. Started sharing my journey on Instagram, started showing people my meals, whether they were fails, whether they were winners. I'm just going to show y'all my journey. Today, I'm going to attempt to make X, Y, and Z. It may come out good, it may not. And then it got to a point where it was like, okay, this is working out. Like, I can do this. I can eat healthy. I can eat clean. And I can still enjoy what it is that I'm eating. One day, somebody's like, oh, I just got a gig and I'm going to be cooking for this person, that person. You're the only person who I feel like I can trust in the kitchen. Come on down here and help me cook. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'll do that. Get down there, we cooking for comedians, football players, rappers, producers, all types of stuff. So I'm like, dang, like my little posting online then led me to becoming a full-blown celebrity chef. Like, that's insane. So it got to a point where it's like, okay, now I'm getting my own bookings. Now I'm getting my own celebrity clientele. Now I'm getting my own regulars. And again, these opportunities came from me being able to simply trust myself, trust my gut, bet on myself, and take the leaps of faith that it took in order to get to certain points. All right, so this next segment is a simple wellness tip. So after I get done with the topic of the day, I'll always want to leave you guys with a wellness tip. And today, we're going to keep it light. This is episode 1. We're going to keep it simple because best believe I got some tips for you. But today, the tip is simply drink water. That's it. That's all. You think you're stressed? You might be thirsty. You think you're hungry, you might be thirsty. You think you're ugly, you might be thirsty. Have you a little sip of spring water? Take a few deep breaths, speak life into it as you drink it. That's it. That's all. Let's keep it simple. Because here you are thinking you got all this wild stuff going on when the whole time it's just because you've been running off caffeine. Lay off the caffeine just a little bit and up the water just a little bit. No, it sounds cliche. I get it. But at the same time, being hydrated really does change the way in which you think, your skin, and even your energy levels. Okay, beautiful people. That is it for today. We kept it super short, super sweet. We're going to slow roll into this. I didn't want to bore y'all to death, but I do hope to see y'all here next time for next episode. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. Send this to somebody you love. Send this to yourself if you need to. Send this to somebody who may need a pep talk right now, who's afraid to take that leap, who's afraid to do their own trust fall, who's afraid to bet on their self. Thank you for watching. It's Ashanté, and always know that it will always be love, always be health, always be wellness, always be motivation, and always be fun. I hope to catch you here next time. Keep betting on yourself. Actually, if you haven't bet on yourself yet, start today. Okay? Bye.